is that time. And to mark the occasion, Spencer and I decided to engage in a bit of shadow boxing there. Spencer Oliver in studio with us, talkSPORT fight pundit, that and many other things, and so much to get through in this final hour. Incidentally, many Sheffield Wednesday fans getting in touch wanted me to thank Simon for putting a bit more meat in the bones, giving them a better understanding of where things are at regarding your football club, because a lot of concern out there, and we totally understand why, as the club is in administration at this stage. So Simon, thanking you for your words on that. Spencer Oliver, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jim. Simon.
Nice to see you, Spence. I lied, candidly.
These two have locked horns earlier in the week, have they not? On Top Boxing. 1 week away from Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, the rematch at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We know what Simon thinks, we know what Spencer thinks, we know what I think, but nobody's bothered what I think. It's what those in the know think. And I think Spencer thinks that Simon thinks is going to be the same again. Eminently missable, but I don't think it will be. Did you follow that? They had a bit of a face-off, Eubank Jr. and Benn again on the zone. Here's a taster.
I wanted to push on for world titles, Chris, so really I'm delaying my world title.
Yeah, no, we want to delay.
I want to get a world title, one like you.
We want to obstruct.
I want to get a world title, one like you. So my next bout,
people don't get what
next bout, Chris, is scheduled at 147. Just to let you know, just in case you're confused whether I'm a 160, 154. It's scheduled at 147.
We're doing the weight talk again.
No, I'm just letting you know, Chris.
Oh, look at me, I've got to jump.
No.
You haven't been a work weight for 4 years.
Listen, your last four fights were at 160. Didn't see you wrapped up in a kit for any of them promos or documents, did you?
Listen, the way I lose weight is the way I lose weight.
Oh, then it was unprofessional because I'm driving in a brand new roller because of it. So thank you. Hope you do it again. Hope you do it again. I'll buy another one. In fact, I'll buy your plate off you. I'll buy your plate off you and stick Eubank on there as well.
When you have a sabotaged weigh-in.
Oh, shut
up. More of the same, or is it, Spencer? We're a matter of days away now. Does this feel as hot second time around?
Well, it's not really kicked off yet, if I'm totally honest. I think we're going to get all the noise this week for sure. It's sort of that face-off's kicked off from where it left off. You know, they're both trying to play mind games. Conor Benn does genuinely come off second best against Chris Eubank, who's a master at doing that. And, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the week unfolds, but expect dramas for sure.
The messages coming in, actually, and I'm looking at some of them, Simon. Would you believe it? There's now a bit of support for you. Regarding this fight.
People have seen
maybe no longer must watch, must listen. I personally think that it is must watch, and I would do my very best to try and get there again. But there is Peter. I totally agree with Mr. Jordan. This fight is less about boxing and more about box office. It's too nostalgia filled. I mean, having said that, is it not a credit to these two that after what they produced in April, all the focus and discussion so far is on them this time around and not on their dads?
Is it? Is there any? I mean, ultimately, I'm not focused on it in the slightest.
I think it is.
I mean, the background noise is the background noise. I mean, we've turned it into an argument about whether Chris Eubank could get an ambulance out of a stadium, and it was apparently Eddie Hearn's fault. So that's the current controversy in this conversation. Other than that, it's repeat, rinse, and just have the same conversation they had 3 months ago. The only thing that Conor's a bit more composed, a bit more balanced. I think actually Conor holds himself quite well in these conversations because he's got more substance behind some of the things he said. Some of the things he said last time were quite cruel, but you know, about the fact you've had a wonderful achievement. Your own father doesn't even like you, and some of those sort of things were very barbed and very pointed. But in the school of trash talking, you know, Chris is very good at taking people into a space where he makes them uncomfortable and creates noise around himself. And Conor now is more adept in these press conferences of being able to control his emotions and give people what they want. If you like these sort of things,
yes, I know,
then this has relevance.
Who's under more pressure this time around,
Chris,
do you think?
Yeah, I think that Chris is under more pressure because he has
he's 1-0 up.
Yeah, but he has to deliver, you know, and I think that, I personally think that he will deliver. I think that Chris Eubank Jr. is brilliant at selling these fights. You can't take that away from him. That is the narrative he's gone down here with the ambulance being blocked. We know that Eddie Hearn wouldn't have control over that, otherwise boxing would be put into disrepute. Like, it's down to the stadium who controls, the exits in and out of the stadium.
There's a question, isn't there, Spence? I mean, one of the things that Chris Eubank does raise, and we should be thinking about it, is about the jeopardy that fighters put themselves into. Are the facilities where they should be? Because we asked Robert Smith yesterday about are your rules fit for purpose? But he's marking his own homework. By what standard are they fit for purpose? And do we need to make sure that when fighters are fighting at weights that people are potentially suggesting they shouldn't be fighting at, and also when fighters are having rehydration clauses in there that are now no longer in there, should these things be going on? Should the safety of a boxer be more prevalent than the economics of what they can wring out of a fight? Because somewhere along the line there is going to be a challenge, and there should be a study done about fighters fighting at weights that they shouldn't be fighting at, or fighting at weights that they're not natural at, and look at the idea behind it to say, is this keeping this sport safe? Are we keeping people safe in it? Because that's not coming into the conversation.
Well, you fought Spencer. We didn't. And you heard what Eubank said. And for those who don't know, after the first fight, Eubank popped out on social media. This is footage of my ambulance being blocked from leaving the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and my team shouting at security to open the gate. And he pointed the finger at Eddie Hearn, amongst others. Eddie Hearn told everyone, I lied about this, but the truth is it happened. And we have to make sure that situations like that don't ever happen again. Robert Smith, as Simon rightly says, of the British Boxing Board of Control, came in from a bit of finger pointing from Eubank Jr. as well. And Robert Smith on this show bit back.
Well, I think, as I've said before, and as you already indicated, there is legal claims going on at the present time, and I can't go too deeply into what we're doing and what he said, etc., which is unfortunate because I'd like to. However, I can tell you that before any tournament, we have a security, certainly at a big venue, we have a security meeting that takes place to deal with all these issues. That did take place in that tournament. We obviously investigated any issues that happen on an evening. We have done that, and we've had further meetings with the venue, etc. And I'm satisfied now that we have in place all procedures to make sure a boxer is looked after the best we possibly can in a safe environment.
Since then, Eubank Jr. has taken to social media and seems to have backpedaled somewhat from his first accusatory stance, if you like, Spencer, saying that I'm not playing the victim, I'm not looking for sympathy, and did seem to backpedal on it. You heard Robert Smith. Where is it now? Well,
it's probably because he's worried about getting sued again. The guy keeps getting sued, for everything that he says. Look, if I was Chris Eubank Jr., I would be very upset because there was no clear exit from the stadium. And whose responsibility is that? Well, they're all sort of passing the buck. Eddie Hearn saying it's not our responsibility, it's the stadium's responsibility. The British Boxing Board of Control is saying it's not to do with us. Well, it's to do with someone. And if you're in Chris Eubank Jr.'s situation, which he was, and he was severely dehydrated and he was in a bad way, that exit was not clear. So I understand where Chris Eubank Jr. is coming from, for sure.
There's the moment right there. If you're watching at the moment on YouTube, you can see exactly what Eubank Jr. was talking about. Simon, you look at it. You think of it. Did Eubank Jr. have a case, or is he blown it out of all proportion?
I don't think he's rowing back from anything. I don't think he's appeasing anybody. I think he's making sure that people don't think he's a victim. He's not stepped back from his observations that he made to Eddie Hearn that he holds him responsible. Where the question is did he have a delay? And why did he have a delay? Where Chris Eubank has gone with it is, I have a delay because of you, Eddie Hearn. Now, he can't make that claim. He can make a claim that he had a delay, and where he'll get himself smacked is by accusing somebody of something that he cannot accuse them of. If Eddie Hearn deliberately stopped him from leaving the stadium, then he has a case, but I guarantee you that he wouldn't have done. But the environment itself, was it fit for purpose? Robert Smith says yes. If an ambulance is delayed taking a fighter out of an environment, and in a stadium that we've had a situation 38 years previous with his father, and Michael Watson, ironically. So with due respect to Robert Smith's claims the other day, that ambulance couldn't get out. Now, it's Tottenham's responsibility to provide the environment, to provide the facilitation of exits. But in a boxing environment, it's very different than a football environment, because there's a distinct possibility that a boxer's going to need to get out of that stadium in an ambulance pretty bloody quick. The other side, I would say, before I let Spencer jump in, is we've got to stop allowing Eubank to milk the sympathy vote, because he's the one that is allowing a £1 million clause to be in his contract that doesn't allow him to rehydrate. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say you're dehydrated and then say that I'm in jeopardy when you are the one that putting yourself in that position.
What he's saying, Spencer, is in his second statement, Eubank Jr. is saying, I'm shining a light in the situation to make sure that if I end up looking like this again on November the 15th, after another dogfight that I'm simply taken to hospital as quickly as possible, and that's all.
Yeah, Jim, I think the reason that Eubank Jr. has gone after Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn was the promoter of the show, and he's saying, listen, I was in a situation there, it was a matter of literally life or death, but they needed to get me to the hospital as quick as possible, and that exit wasn't there. So he's gone after the guy that put on the show. Eddie Hearn rightly's come back and said, nothing to do with us. We don't control who's going on the security, the exits, etc., etc. We're putting on the show. But you can understand where Eubank Jr. went from, where he's gone straight for the promoter because it's the promoter's show.
But he's also, the question is, was it fit for purpose? And my argument would begin to be probably not. So that other people have got to start taking consideration about it. The argument that it's Eddie Hearn's fault, well, he's the promoter of note, so he has to take some responsibility for it because he's put his name above the door. The real issue, the real reason, let's get it right. This is a story and it sells a fight. It's a narrative. It creates an outcome.
Yeah, but it's also a fact, Simon, that these things did happen.
I don't dispute it, but what's the motivation behind it? My belief, the motivation behind it, with due respect to Chris Eubank, is not to make a point about how near to death he was, because he chose to go down that pathway with respect by not taking the rehydration clause that penalised him by £1 million. But the fact is, it's about selling a fight. It's about, I believe, behind this is, are we selling enough tickets? How do we get a noise about this? Because we can't rehash the same thing. We can't bring my dad up again because we've already done all that.
We'll get used to it because the build-up to the fight, which is days away now, is going to include an awful lot more in terms of some antagonising statements, no doubt, from Eubank Jr. towards Benn and Benn towards Eubank Jr. We'll see what direction it goes in. It's live in talkSPORT, that's what I know, and it's coming your way soon. So are we, but we're live. This Thursday lunchtime, courtesy of Selco, where the trade goes.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
We are live this Thursday lunchtime at 12:20. It's Jim Whyte, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Spencer Oliver. And we are live in talkSPORT, live in your telly as well, even Prime Video, wherever you want to watch us. We are there for you right now. But 3 is about to become 4 because as we're having this conversation about Eubank Jr. Benn 2, we may as well include this fella. And why shouldn't we? Because Liam Smith had 2 fights with Eubank Jr. He won the first by stoppage and lost the second bout. I wonder what he thinks now. Liam, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You okay, lads? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Liam. What are your thoughts on this Eubank Benn story? Regards the first fight, we saw that Chris Eubank Jr. got the nod. What do you expect to see second time around in the same venue, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Liam?
First fight was a better fight than I kind of expected. I expected Chris to win the first fight, but I thought Conor performed better than I expected. The rematch, I think Conor-Benn, I probably fancy Conor a little bit more than I did the first fight, and I probably, if you ask me now to put my money where my mouth is, I probably think Conor might win this one.
Well, Liam, you know how much it is a struggle. As you get older, you know the struggles of making weight, and if you miss it marginally, it affects the performance. And I think that Chris Eubank Jr. in that last fight clearly missed the weight, and that would have affected his performance. So you go, when you're looking at that, was that Conor Benn at his best and Eubank Jr. at his worst? Or do you feel that it's just he's at that age where he may be declining? Because if he gets the weight right, as you know, you're a fighter that's made weight before. If he gets the weight right, that performance he could excel in this fight.
It could, and both your points are correct, Spencer. But like, I do think he looks better this time round in camp. I think the sparring partners I've seen pictured with, I think he has took this one a lot more serious than he did take the last one, as in Eubank Jr. But yes, in my opinion, I think he, one fight away from being done. I think as balance as not what it was, and we've seen a lot of that in the first fight. He didn't really look, solid on his feet. I think he was buzzed a few times, but so my opinion is I bring Conor Benn to it a lot more this time round because of what I think on Chris Eubank Jr. I think he's only 1 or 2 fights away from being done, but the points it is correct. We failed weight last time round. The rehydration clause saga also. I'm still not 100% sure on what's going to happen this time. Ben Shalom and that are saying the rehydration clause not agreed yet and stuff like that. Eddie ain't saying it was all agreed beforehand. So, I'm not sure. It'll be an interesting fight week again, a little bit like the last one was.
Liam, I mean, your brother Paul, who actually does turn up for Talk Boxing, unlike you, got to get that one in. Got to get that one in. He's of the same mindset as you about Conor. But in your mind, does Conor have the technical ability to be able to make the impact on Chris Eubank?
You know what, Sam? Yes, only because I don't think Chris Eubank's the most technically correct fighter also. I know he's a bigger man and fought his whole career at 160, but I don't think Chris Eubank is as technically good and technically correct to counter Conor Benn's mistakes and exploit Conor Benn's mistakes. So that's where I do think you're correct in what you're saying. And if we analyse Conor, he was not the most talented fighter. He hadn't had any great wins, hadn't beat any top names for us to say, wow. I always said last time, it's crazy how Conor Benn's career has gone because he's a huge name, a huge draw, and a huge money fight now for anyone fighting him. Yet he hasn't won a British title. He hasn't fought or beat anyone of note. Chris Algieri, Sebastian Formella, who they bang on about. But when you analyse himself, ability-wise and technical-wise, he was never ever great. But I also don't think Chris Eubank Jr. is.
Do you know, Chris Eubank Jr. is very disciplined, though. We have seen that in the past where he can stick to the game plan. Conor Benn is a very emotional kid, and I think that comes out when he boxes as well. And do you think that emotions could play a part in this as well? Because clearly the emotions played a part in the first fight, and he was standing there at times just swinging away, and maybe because of the emotions. If he gets those emotions in check, then yeah, it could be a different fight. But do you think that he has the capability of doing that?
No, I don't, Spence. And I think we're going to get along the lines of the same fight as last time, whether it's as good and as competitive as last time. I think we're going to get the same type fight. Let's have it right. It didn't start off a war. Conor was very, very explosive early, and Chris was not really wanting to engage early. And then, after 6, Chris put his foot to the pedal and stood and had a fight with Conor. Conor tired, probably because of the natural size difference with Chris. It didn't start off at Unzinger from round 1. Both swinging out. Chris started off on the jab. Conor started off trying to be explosive and probably trying to nail Chris early because he's seen, my fight and I hear Chris early, so he's probably thought his best chance of hitting Chris is while he's fresh and explosive.
Liam, I heard Simon have a tweak at you for not showing up for Top Boxing. You can have a tweak back. Simon didn't go to he didn't go to the first fight, Liam, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I did, and it was hugely memorable. Should Simon attend the second one?
Yeah, I think he should. Regardless of what you think of everyone around it. Eddie, the scenario with the fathers selling the fight and whatnot. It was a good fight, take everything away from it. It was a good, entertaining fight to watch, and it was a lot better than most people expected.
Yeah, there you go.
You won world titles, that you just laid out the claim that these two guys have not won anything between them, that all this noise, all this background noise, all this money's being generated. Don't you look at it and go, hang on a second?
100%, but like I said, I've been in the game long enough now, and we know that's the nature of the beast. That's the downside to it. Look, I said, if I take a kid now who I know is a class kid to turn professional, one question will be, what have you won? And that will probably go in 1 ear out the other, unless he's an Olympic medalist. The next question will be, how many tickets can you sell in your hometown? And that's like the sport we're in. It's about generating that side to it. If I sell 400 tickets on my debut, I'm covering my wages, my opponent's wages, and then money in the promoter's pocket towards the top of the bill's wages. So that's just the game we're in. We know these who have been brought up with, fathers who were legends in this, this sport, and they've been blessed, been very lucky as well. Chris Eubank Jr. had made absolute fortunes in his career before that fight, and again, has never been a world champion, so
sure,
you're just blessed to be born.
You just have to accept that. Liam, what's next for you? Are you now officially retired?
Not officially, but I'm just trying to try and get myself back fit. If I can get back fit and get myself back where I was, then I'll have another one. If I can't, then I'll retire. But I'm gonna start me sparring with a couple of fighters who people are talking about, people are raving about. See what I've got left. But if I can't find the gears that I had, because that's what I struggled with after the back injury, get myself back into shape where I was always a fighter who, had gears to go through, and I couldn't really find them gears. Not really the Eubank Jr. rematch, because that was what it was. But like I said, the last fight, I just had no gears to go through, following Adam McKenna around the ring. So we'll see.
Liam, the fighter's always the first one to know it and the last ones to accept it. Are you at this stage of your career right now where you go, if it's not there anymore, you get in your sparring and it's not quite there, you would know straight away. Yeah. Will you accept that is time and it will be time to hang them up?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like I say, look, even what I've just said can be, all the crap, sparring. I was okay sparring last time. I got in the ring and just had no gears to go through. It was nothing really, I couldn't. I said all along, Adam McKenna, that style was made for me, cutting the ring off, and I felt, me on my game, I could have really got to that after 5 or 6, but I just couldn't seem to find any gears to go through. I had no injection in my legs to close the ring down.
Sure.
And whether that was the long time out the ring, I don't know, but I could be done. I've had a long career, and we'll see. But I'm going to get myself back fit regardless anyway. There's other options, there's other avenues for me. So
Liam, good man. Listen, thanks for joining us. I can't speak for Simon, but I would be good at getting in the ring, Liam. It's just what happens after that. I'd be no use at it whatsoever. Liam Smith, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we wish you well. We're coming up to 12:30. Good afternoon, everybody. It's now just gone 12:30 this Thursday lunchtime. It's Jim Whyte, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Spencer Oliver. And we are live in talkSPORT, live in your television as well. Whatever you want to watch us, you can watch us. And many of you are doing that, and many of you are telling me you are watching us live on Samsung, on Prime Video. Whatever you want to watch us, you can watch us live. And I tell you this, I promise you one thing. The next few moments are going to be, if nothing else, thoroughly entertaining. I can assure you of that, because from Vegas to London and Saudi Arabia, many in the world of boxing are predicting the next big space for the sport, undoubtedly Africa and undoubtedly West Africa. I am delighted to say that joining us now is a man at the forefront of shaping the sport of boxing in that parts of the world, particularly in Nigeria. And he's the chief executive, and I love the name, of course, I'm Scottish, Balmoral Group Promotions, Dr. Ezekiel Adamu. It is good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jim. Thanks for having me.
We've given you the biggest build-up we could possibly manage.
Absolutely.
You don't need that because you've a massive personality yourself. I could see you greeting Simon through the glass there when we had the news bulletin with Amelia, and you know this man, Spencer Oliver, as
Spencer's
well.
a brother.
Tell me this, and tell me your story. Why are you so passionate about the sport of boxing and giving back to Nigeria?
So I always tell people, I didn't choose boxing. I think boxing chose me. We started with boxing about a few years ago, and the momentum has been tremendous. The impact has been crazy. It's just amazing, to be honest with you. And the journey keeps going. Like I said to Simon earlier, I said, if we've done this in a couple of years, in the next 2-3 years, I believe African boxing will be one of the top boxings globally. Not just in Africa, but globally.
Ezekiel, it is very important that we do get African boxing back on the map, isn't it? You go back, 50-year anniversary now to Ali and Foreman. You look, all those times. And I was over there just recently, and I saw the gyms, and I saw the talent that was in the gyms that don't get the opportunity and don't get that, just the opportunity, really.
Or the recognition.
The recognition. And you see some of those kids that are over there, and you go, that kid would be a star, would be a champion. And you're giving them that platform. And that is important, because I think that will reshape boxing in many ways, because the African kids are not getting the opportunity. You don't see them. So it's not always the best kid that reaches the top. It's the ones that get those opportunities. And you're opening that door.
Absolutely. And that's why I say when I came in here, I said talkSPORT for me absolutely is actually one of my biggest platforms in the world. And I'm grateful to you guys, what you guys are doing. You're not partial. You're putting Africa on the map. And we're eternally grateful for that. You saw when you came to the studio, to the gyms as well too. You saw the kids from 2 years old, 3 years old, they're boxing. And you saw in Africa it's a bit different. When you box here, it's passion. In Africa, it's a way out of life. So for them, there's no other option. It's just you box your way out of poverty. You box your way out of everything you're doing. So expect to get a lot more champions. So, I mean, you saw Taiwo Agbaje.
Simon,
you saw Taiwo Agbaje. Look at what he did.
Absolutely. But you go in these gyms, Simon, right, and you look at and Ezekiel's right in what he says, that they're 3, 4, 5, 6. These kids can fight. And you just go, if they had the platform, the opportunity, because they're all in there for a little bit
big
of hope.
sport over there. I mean, obviously, in that part of the world, being involved in football, I had Nigerian players like Victor Moses. And so I've seen the sports that are prevalent over in that part of the world. How big is boxing and the infrastructure for the opportunity?
So boxing is big, but as it is, there's never been a proper platform where they can showcase their talent. So most of the time, you have to wait for an opportunity for 1 or 2 people to come over here or to travel to the US and all of that. But right now, you've got the platform now, and I kid you not, these guys used to box in the streets before, but since we get this platform now, they're actually paying for themselves to go to the proper gym now. Just like you have in Saudi, where boxing has become a big thing now, just like that in Nigeria as well. I'm super impressed in terms of how they're taking it. They're taking it very serious now. And I mean it, in the next couple of years, expect to see some world champions from Nigeria.
Yeah, I've been in neighbouring Ghana, Ezekiel, and Azuma Nelson is the big name there. And he's a legend of the sport in that
Absolutely,
part of the
it's
world.
our legend.
Nigeria, right next to Ghana, that whole area, I'm sure, is just waiting to explode when it comes to boxing. And you're trying your level best. You're educated in this part of the world. I noticed you began your academic journey at Arwin College in Leicester.
Absolutely.
Now you're a businessman, you're a humanitarian, you're a philanthropist, but you've got a passion for entrepreneurship. And this fella knows exactly what it's like to be a major entrepreneur. And you have a commitment to excellence. But you want to direct all of that
into
seeing
boxing.
this sport explode in Nigeria.
Yes, that's right. So I've been involved in music in the past, and you've seen Afrobeats at the moment. This one is one of the top genres of music in the world at the moment. So we have absolutely no doubt that boxing is going to get to that level as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely no doubt.
I mean, it's terrifically exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting.
I get the impression you're not going to stop until you get to that target area you're aiming for.
We're not stopping. We're not stopping. We're not aiming to be the best in Africa. We're aiming to be the best globally.
What? Globally?
Globally.
And that takes in Saudi, that takes in every other country.
That takes everywhere. It's not about perfection for us, like I say, it's about momentum. And if we've done this in just a couple of years, sometimes people underestimate what you can do. People overestimate what you can do in a year, but underestimate what you can do in 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And that's where we're headed.
Have you got the financial backing, though? I mean, look at the financial backing that Saudi Arabia can give the sport.
I tell you what, you've got a population of about 1.4 billion people in Africa. You've got the biggest businesses in Africa. It is a huge number. And Africa, as I tell you, we have about 1.4 billion people, and half of that, 70% of that population is from the ages of 16 to 30. So it means that we are growing. We will grow.
Where did the influence come from? Was it because what you saw what Saudi Arabia had done and the influence that they had on boxing and how they changed the sport and reshaped the sport in many ways?
Yeah.
Is that where it started from?
Saudi. It came in from Saudi. Look at what Saudi has done. Look at what the boxing everywhere else has done. And like I said, I didn't choose boxing. I think boxing chose us. And I don't give up when I start something. That's the thing. We're not going to rest. We have the government behind us. And then we have the top brands behind us. I think our biggest sponsor, Bet Niger, which is our major headline sponsor, already they signed Moses Itauma. And Moses Itauma coming in this event already, they're actually renovating about 4 gyms already. Well, so we're coming up with gyms already. So expect to see, this is just keep growing. We'll keep growing.
Yeah, and last month you had a big event on Nigeria Independence Day. I love what you called it. Chaos in the Ring.
Chaos in the Ring.
That was a great... If you're going to call it anything fancy, call it that. Welcome to Chaos in the Ring.
Welcome to Chaos in the Ring.
Amir Khan's UK promotions were involved in that. Now you're looking ahead to December the 19th, and you've got a card planned over in Nigeria. Lawrence Okoli, who Simon and I spoke to the other day, was already lined up for it. David Adley is already lined up for it. Have you got plans to get Anthony Joshua out to that part of the world?
So, the ultimate plan for us is to have Anthony Joshua come fight in Nigeria because I think it's the biggest name in boxing even until today. He's Nigerian. We would like to see him. We've put in an offer to Matchroom already, so I don't want to jinx it by saying anything any more than that, but we've put in an offer already. We're looking to have him fight April next year, and we'll just wait for Matchroom to get back to us and see.
Have you had any conversations with Anthony?
I know Anthony, so we have to speak to Matchroom anyway, so I don't want to say too much more than that, but yes, the ultimate is to have Anthony fight in Nigeria. And like I said, if you look at the heavyweight category, I recently found out that even Dubois is Nigerian. He's got some Nigerian blood in him. I didn't realize. So, I've spoken with Deontay Wilder. he wants to fight in Nigeria because they say he has some Nigerian blood in him. So we have so many Nigerians in the heavyweight category, and then why not? Why not bring everyone back home? So we've got Okoli at the moment, we've got Adelaide. Next one, we're looking at AJ, and then we keep it going like that.
One thing I did recognise, actually, when we was over there, and that was in the airport and all around the streets on the big billboards, is Moses Itauma is everywhere over there.
Yes, he is.
He's a big name over there, isn't he?
He is a big name, and also, you know, Bet Niger is a big brand over there.
And they back him.
And they back him as well, too. So he's major over there. AJ is major. Okoli was actually surprised when he went into the local gyms and he saw his pictures all over the local gyms. Like, wow, they know me here. I said, yeah. And it's like we worship our celebrities over there, literally. So, I mean, for them as well, too, Okoli came in there, was like, listen, I can't wait to come back here and fight.
I totally identify with what you're saying, Ezekiel. Many years ago, I went to Senegal with Patrick Vieira, former Arsenal captain, and the country came to a standstill. That's what happens in that part of the world. Everything stops.
Everything stops. Everything stops.
Now, you're talking about global dominance one day for Nigeria. Is there anything in terms of a barrier in the way of you achieving that? Do you even envisage a barrier on the horizon?
So I'm someone that believes that those barriers are what gets you better, right? If it was all smooth, then you won't get it. So the barriers keep you stronger and they keep you getting better. So I see the barriers, but then we will definitely overcome it. Just like we've done with music, just like we've done with other areas. Boxing, we'll fight our way out of these barriers.
You know, Simon, when a gentleman like Ezekiel has an appetite for his sport like this, and to see it grow and flourish in his country, it's hard to think there's anything that's going to get in his way.
The fascinating thing is to debate whether the world of boxing can get to the levels that people think it can. Because I have this debate with Turki Al-Sheikh about where this sport can get to and the level and the ceiling of the industry. Not the ceilings of this man's ambitions or his capabilities, but the ceiling of this sport. But if you don't push the envelope, and if you don't push it and center it with ambition and best-in-class thinking, then you have no chance. There's nothing wrong with any of that. My big debate is where boxing can be, what space it can fill, because it can't touch football, because football's up and away. It won't take that audience.
Yeah.
But whether it can start to move above others, and it has. Now, a lot of that's to do with the Saudi phenomenon. And Turkey himself has spoke about the necessity and the opportunity that exists in this man's part of the world. So, of course it does. And of course he should shoot for the stars, because he'll take the moon on the way up, right?
Absolutely.
Ezekiel, terrific. Already we're getting an enormous reaction to this. People love your enthusiasm for it. And who's to say that enthusiasm can't be matched by actually happening? And nobody in here doubts that it will.
Jamie, it will happen.
Brilliant. Let's do a show from Nigeria. Shall we do that, Ezekiel? Yeah, we'll go out, shall we? We'll do a show someday soon from over in Nigeria.
Yes, why not?
So
Let's do that.
Mr. Jordan will arrive in the country carried shoulder high. I'll make sure of it.
You know what? I do feel like you said something about football and boxing, right? That football is the biggest sport in the world. You can't really talk about that. But what I feel, in my own opinion, right? Football, I feel like for you to break in. It becomes a bit difficult for you to break into the team or to break into boxes. Me and you in the ring.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it comes
down to. Me and you in the ring. So if I get it down that level, I can get to the highest level. So for me, it's easier to break into boxing.
My point I'm making is not so much about the access point of getting into it. It's about the level and scale of the industry and the broadcasting interest, because we both know that broadcasters fund it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
All roads lead to your part of the world on December the 19th, and Lawrence Okoli will top the bill. We look forward to it. It's been great having you. Absolutely great having you, Dr. Ezekiel Adamu. And I think we're going to be hearing Spencer Simon and a lot more from the good doctor in the weeks and months ahead. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Thursday lunchtime, we're live in talkSPORT. The man pushing Nigerian boxing has come and gone, Dr. Ezekiel Adamu. Many people getting in touch saying, my God, whatever that fella does in life, we will back him to the hilt. He's got a very persuasive way about him, hasn't he? Extremely infectious attitude that he's got about the sport that he loves, the sport of boxing, Spencer.
That's the word, Jim, infectious, and he has passion, you know, and they want to open up that part of the world. So, yeah, he's a good guy to have behind the sport.
For sure. Question marks remain. Simon and I spoke about this earlier on in the company of Zach Parker, the boxer who in recent days took on and failed to beat Josh Buatsi. It was a controversial points decision. It went Buatsi's way and not Zach Parker's. You were there, Spencer, of course you were. Josh Buatsi, how long can he remain unconvincing in his bid for world titles?
Well, look, when Joshua Buatsi turned pro after picking up that bronze medal in the Rio 2016 Olympics, you looked at it and go, this kid is the future. And once I think he was the prospect globally, not just in this country. You looked at it, one of the best prospects globally. And he started off really, really well. And I think you have to go back to, who was it? Craig Richards, 2022, May 2022 at the O2. You go, that was probably the last really good performance I've seen from Buatsi. And since then, I've not seen...
long ago?
Yeah, not seen the Buatsi...
Willie Hutchinson?
Yeah, yeah, but was that as good a... Well, mind you, just taking nothing away from Willie. Yeah, maybe Willie Hutchinson, but you just go...
I think you'll see more from Josh. The style of that fight doesn't suit Josh Buatsi. I thought Josh looked good in the Callum Smith fight. He just got worked out by Callum Smith, who's a much more experienced world-level fighter. I think if you stick Josh Buatsi in a come-forward fight, you'll see a different. You'll see Josh Buatsi go up levels rather than what you saw in the fight against Zach Parker.
I hope so, because he's a great talent and a great fighter, and it's frustrating watching him. And it was frustrating watching him against Zach Parker because you go like, you're not seeing it. He's not delivering it. It was a very... There was no purpose around his work at all.
But it's also like Dan Aziz dragged him up, didn't he? Because Josh was the same one pace against Dan Aziz until Dan Aziz made it into a fight, and Josh had to raise his level, keep on raising his level, and eventually you saw the difference between Josh and Dan Aziz.
Yeah.
And in the situation with Zach Parker, with respect to Zach, who didn't lose that fight, he didn't really come to fight, did he?
He tactically got it right because he nicked the fight, and that's basically what he'd done. He was throwing the shots. He said to me, I had a good conversation with him about it. He said, look, I know physically I wasn't strong enough to stand there, Buatsi. He was physically very, very strong, and he likes to work on the inside. So he had a game plan. He stuck to it.
Okay.
And really, he won the fight. He was very unfortunate that it didn't go his way.
Spencer, Johnny is a big fight fan. He's saying, Jim, ask Spencer on my behalf, what is going on December the 13th? Is it right? No Itauma, no Chisora. Who's fighting who? Or more importantly, who is not fighting who?
I don't believe that show goes ahead. I think that December the 13th, it is pretty much dead and buried in the water. I don't think they've released that statement yet, but I think that with, the big names now off the show, Moses Itauma now doesn't look like he's going to be boxing until February time. Derek Chisora versus Dillian Whyte, I don't think that they could sort of make up the numbers for that fight to take centre stage, and so I think that fight is in jeopardy as well.
Chisora. What's Chisora saying to you?
Well, Chisora wants to fight. He's looking for 50 and out, and he's looking for a big fight with the right figure on the table. I think he's looking for the right pension fund, and I don't believe that it was maybe not on the table in going into this fight with what had happened to the show.
He's not alone. We're all looking for the right pension fund.
Yeah, well, I think Derek's earned that right, hasn't he? Like he's given us some memorable nights over the years for sure. I think you'd even agree with me with that, Simon, would you?
I don't begrudge Derek anything. That's why I don't get on the bandwagon about when he should retire. It's up to him.
Yeah, exactly.
But so it looks doubtful that show on December the 13th is happening. Let's hope it gets rescheduled. The first two that he had with Dillian Whyte, by the way, were probably two of the best British heavyweight fights in history. You look at that; they both left it all in the ring. So why not a trilogy for both of those guys? Dillian's at that stage of his career as well.
Yeah.
Let's hope we get it sooner rather than later.
Okay. Spencer Oliver, thanking you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Simon, you've got to do what? Cuddle up to a night nurse this afternoon, I think.
If I can find one.
Great. If we can find one who's willing and able, he'll cuddle up. It's 1 o'clock. Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim Whyte and Simon Jordan. We're live in talkSPORT. So wins for Manchester City and Newcastle, while Chelsea draw at Karabag. Is Maresca morphing into Tinkerman Ranieri? And are we seeing two different versions of Newcastle? Meantime, FIFA awarding their own Peace Prize to Donald Trump. Would it be ludicrous or smart politicking? Also today, can we confidently say Manchester City are indeed back? As tennis prepares for another battle of the sexes, is this format enticing or outdated? 39 years on, does anything rival the Sir Alex appointment? And from midday we talk boxing with fight pundit Spencer Oliver. 1 week out from Benn versus Eubank Jr., the rematch. Jim Whyte and Simon Jordan, we're live in talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim Whyte and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Now, what people don't know is how this man battles against all adversity and comes into his workplace. The door opens and I was tipped off by someone close to producer Luke that Simon's not feeling his best today. He's feeling a wee bit, not feeling 100%, little cold in the throat, etc., etc. You walk in, I look at you, and he mouths to me, I feel like death. How are you?
Are you going to get on my bloody nerves?
If you're watching on TV, look at me now. Feigning interest. Feigning concern. How are you feeling?
Grotty, but
right.
No working from home for the likes of us.
See, and for that, I applaud you.
Yes.
Absolutely
indeed.
right.
Indeed.
Working from home. That's not a phrase that goes down well with either Mr. Whyte or Mr. Jordan. We're always in here. Simon, well done for being in, because we have a lot to get through, not least in the world of boxing. It is cranking up big time towards Benn Eubank 2. Well, I was about to say before you released that noise from his mouth, incidentally. Are you in any way getting interested in it this time?
No, look, I think it's
I think you will next week.
Well, you can think again then. The terminology unfinished business is the only thing that's unfinished about it. They didn't manage to rinse enough money out of people the first time round. Unfinished what? Fight was won. What we got returned for? What's the return for?
Look, you know it more than me. This is what happens in boxing.
Show business, absolutely.
But if Ben wins this time around, you know what's happening. There we are for the trilogy.
You can choreograph another one so that we can all sit there and rinse some more money out of it.
But that's boxing.
I think there's better things to be doing than watching Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank. I think there are more meaningful fights that both of them could have had with more substance. I don't begrudge them earning money. If people are foolish enough to want to put this kind of money in these two fighters' hands, I know they turn around and say, oh, it was a wonderful fight. It was a wonderful fight. They left everything in the ring. So they should. I've seen just as good a fights in Witherspoons. So with due respect to the boxing profession.
Nonsense.
I think it's
You weren't there first time around. It was brilliant.
I watched it on the Sunday morning. I don't deny the spectacle. I don't deny the noise and the show business element of it. I don't deny Chris Eubank's innate ability to be able to be so charismatic in press conferences. He's overreached this time with his nonsense. But the fact is that I don't appreciate it. I don't value it as a fight. I don't value the circus around it. I don't buy into the nostalgia crap. I don't. And people can say I'm mean-spirited. I just have a different view of it. And so that means that everyone that goes to enjoy it, worry about your enjoyment. Don't worry about my lack of enjoyment.
You're clinging to this view. One man's view. Are you more against it this time than you were the first time around?
I think a lot of people are not particularly enamoured by it. Ask Frank Watton what he thinks of it. People might say because he hasn't got any skin in the game and ain't making any money out of it. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is I look at it and say, no. Yeah. I think there's an element of charlatan about this. Yeah. But other people will say, how can you say that? These two guys went in there and left everything in the ring. Well, what's that, a bonus for everybody? Is that a bonus for everybody that people go and pay a lot of money and reward these fighters way beyond their skills and way beyond their level and standing in boxing?
Can you deny that first time around that this fight actually lived up to the hype?
Well, I can't deny that with the spectacle and the fact that people are so gullible and so... Chris Eubank has turned up. Well, I wasn't surprised he turned up. I wasn't surprised. I wonder if he got paid to turn up. That would put a damper on everyone's nostalgia, wouldn't it? The fact of the matter is people like it, people appreciate it, and that's their business. And if I don't, it's my business.
Many messages are coming in, interestingly, all on the same theme. Jim, Simon has never set a foot inside Wetherspoons, ever,
yes, I
says
have.
Mark.
Yes, I have.
So does Barry. So does Barry, the Spurs fan.
Well,
they're not having you in Wetherspoons.
I looked through the window and I thought, oh, not for me.
We'll get to the boxing later on this morning because the diminutive but very effective Spencer Oliver is going to be stepping into this studio around 12 noon, amongst others. You can look forward to a cracking boxing hour, I can assure you.